Hello again. I'm excited to guide you through the next part of the course where you'll learn all about e-commerce stores. You'll also get the chance to start working on your first e-commerce project. Imagine this. You're working for a local gift shop that wants to start selling their products online, and you're the one they've tasked with figuring out how to establish an online store. Where do you start? How do you create an online store, and how do you add products to it? Coming up, you're going to learn how to do all of those things and more. By the end of this section, you'll have a clear understanding of how an e-commerce store works. My first experience working in e-commerce was in my previous role, where I led the sales team that helped brand manufacturers sell directly to consumers. We helped them improve their online customer experience, which led to an increase in site traffic, a better conversion rate, and a higher average order value, and more repeat purchases. Now let's review what's been covered in this course so far. First, you got an overview of e-commerce basics. Then you learned the importance of market research, including how to identify your target audience and do product research. You also learned important details about product sourcing and branding. Now it's time for you to learn how to work on your own e-commerce store. First, you'll get an overview of e-commerce stores and how they work. You'll discover the basic elements that make up an e-commerce store and explore how customers navigate through the buying process. Then you'll be introduced to some of the major e-commerce store platforms. You'll learn the difference between these platforms and why a company may choose one over the other. There are a lot of platforms that exist other than the ones you'll learn about here. The important thing is to understand the basics of how an e-commerce platform works. Then you can use this knowledge to help you learn other platforms on the job. Next, you'll learn how Shopify works. You'll also learn how to add products to an e-commerce store and set up a Google Merchant Center account. Sound good? Let's get started. It's time to start learning about e-commerce stores. An e-commerce store is a store that sells its products online. In an e-commerce store, customers can search or browse for products, add them to a virtual shopping cart, and pay for their purchase online. In order for customers to easily shop online, an e-commerce store should include several basic elements that are considered best practice. These should be easily recognizable elements that customers can expect to find on almost any e-commerce site they visit. Let's cover some of those elements now. First, there's a homepage, which is the main page of a website. In an e-commerce store, the homepage helps customers understand what types of products a company sells. It also helps customers find the information they need, and it serves as a main hub that connects to other pages on the website. At the top of an e-commerce store is a navigation bar, which is a collection of links to other pages within the website. The navigation bar helps customers find the section of a website that will be most useful for them. It typically stays at the top of the website, no matter which page a customer is on. The navigation bar includes a menu with links to products, which are generally organized by department or category. For example, the menu may include a link to the overall appliances page, as well as secondary links to the refrigerator and washing machine pages. The navigation bar may include links to other important pages as well. For example, featured deals, a weekly ad, gift registries, or customer support. An e-commerce store also includes search functionality, such as a search bar. If the customer knows what they want to find, they can enter it into the search field to get the results from the store based on their search. Besides the menu and search elements, the navigation bar typically includes a link to create or sign into an account. This allows customers to do things like create or edit their account information, update their payment information, and access previous orders. Once a customer navigates deeper into the website, they'll find product detail pages, sometimes called PDPs, which provide information about a specific product. Product detail pages may include a description, images, specifications, and reviews, as well as other information about the product. When a customer finds a product they want to buy, they can add it to their digital shopping cart. The navigation bar includes a link to the shopping cart, so that the customer can access it anytime. By clicking on this link, customers can go directly to their shopping cart and view their current order at any time during the buying process. When they're finished shopping, they can easily go to their shopping cart and enter the checkout process. Every e-commerce store includes a digital checkout system that allows customers to enter their shipping and payment information and complete their purchase online. The checkout process is a key part to the customer journey. You'll learn more about it later, as well as how to remove any friction that could keep customers from completing their purchase. Other pages that are important to include in an e-commerce store include links to customer support, contact information, return and exchange policies, and shipping information. It's also important for e-commerce stores to have a responsive website if possible. A responsive website means that the site is designed to work on all types of devices, including computers, mobile phones, and tablets. Having a responsive website makes the customer browsing experience easier and more efficient, which typically leads to better conversion rates. An e-commerce store should also be accessible to all users. Web accessibility means that a website or mobile app is designed and developed so that people with disabilities can use it. 71% of people with disabilities leave a website immediately if it's not accessible. Also, many enhancements made for accessibility improve all users' experiences. Video captions are a great example of an accessibility tool that many users find valuable. Ultimately, each user is unique, so designing for accessibility is an important way to address the many different ways people navigate websites. If a business also has brick and mortar stores, a store locator is important to include. Customers often visit a store's website first in order to research products and find stores in their area. They may also want to buy products online and pick them up in store if the option is available. In an e-commerce role, you may hear this called BOPIS, which means buy online, pick up in store. Each of these elements is important to help customers find what they need in an e-commerce store. Many of these elements, such as the shopping cart and digital checkout system, are part of the store's e-commerce platform. Most e-commerce stores are built on an e-commerce platform, which allows you to do things like add and update products, manage customer orders, receive payments, handle shipping and fulfillment, and more, all in one place. An e-commerce platform often includes built-in tools and templates to make creating and managing an e-commerce store easier. Coming up next, you'll learn more about e-commerce stores and platforms. Keep up the great work. You've learned a lot about what goes into creating an e-commerce store. Now you're going to learn more about the platform that an e-commerce store is built on. There's a large number of e-commerce platforms available to use. Some of the most common platforms include Wix, Shopify, BigCommerce, Squarespace, WooCommerce, and Magento. One of the basic differences between platforms is whether they use software that's open source or SaaS, which stands for Software as a Service. Let's discuss each of these in more detail. Open source software allows the user to access and edit the original source code. That means that a company can customize their e-commerce website in any way they choose. WooCommerce and Magento are two examples of open source platforms. Let's use an analogy to make this easier to understand. Imagine a brick and mortar store in a building that's fully owned by the retailer. The retailer can completely remodel the store building if they choose, similar to an open source platform that allows for full customization. With an open source platform, the company has complete control over how their e-commerce store appears and functions, but they also need to know how to make those changes within the code, or to be able to hire someone with web development expertise. Next, let's cover SaaS, which describes a web-based software available on a subscription basis. The user must purchase a subscription in order to use it. A SaaS e-commerce platform allows for a certain amount of customization, but it doesn't allow access to the source code. Most SaaS e-commerce platforms offer different plans a company can choose from based on their size, budget, and the level of support that they need. Shopify and BigCommerce are two examples of SaaS platforms. In the analogy we used earlier, a SaaS platform would be similar to a brick-and-mortar store that leases its retail space. The landlord is the one who's responsible for maintaining the building. The tenant may be able to make a certain amount of changes to the building, but any changes need to be within the limits of what the landlord will allow. Now that you understand the difference between open source and SaaS platforms, let's consider the advantages and disadvantages of each. First, let's cover open source platforms. The biggest advantage of an open source platform is that it gives a company complete control over the design and functionality of their e-commerce store. Being able to make changes to the functionality or the technical features and capabilities available on the website allows a company unlimited access to improve the customer experience. The options for customization are endless. One of the disadvantages, however, is that the company needs to have the coding and technical skills necessary to create and maintain their e-commerce store. They'll also need to pay separately for a web hosting service, which is a service that enables a company to publish its website on the internet. Although the open source platform may be free or low cost on its own, the company needs to consider additional costs involved, such as web hosting, web design, web development, security, and IT maintenance. Now let's consider the advantages and disadvantages of SaaS platforms. The biggest advantage is that it's an all-in-one solution that provides hosting, security, and customer service. SaaS platforms offer built-in templates and user-friendly software that allows a company to launch their store quickly, even without coding skills. While some SaaS platforms allow more customization than others, all of them have limits to how much customization is possible, and advanced customization may require coding skills. That's one disadvantage. Another is that the platform may only integrate with certain third-party apps or shopping channels. It may also only allow certain payment methods. Plus, there may be additional fees for some features within the platform. Now that we've covered the advantages and disadvantages of both open source and SaaS platforms, let's discuss a few more important things to consider that apply to all types of platforms. One thing to consider is how fast the web pages load in an e-commerce store. A slow site can frustrate customers and cause them to leave. Research shows up to 90% of customers will abandon the site if it's too slow. Plus, a 1-second delay in mobile load times can impact conversion rates by up to 20%. Another thing to consider is how high up the store might show in search engine results. Showing up higher in the search results typically leads to more visitors, as you learned earlier. The search engine optimization, or SEO, capabilities of a platform can impact how well the store performs in online searches. Plus, the SEO keywords and phrases used on the site can also make a difference. Finally, there's a difference in platforms based on how much room they allow for growth. As the company expands, the platform needs to be able to handle increased traffic, allow for a large number of products, and have more flexibility and options to meet the marketing needs of a growing company. Although it's helpful to understand the differences between e-commerce platforms, you probably won't be the one deciding on a platform for your employer. Typically, the platform is already chosen by management, and you'll learn how to use it on the job. Also, coding for open source software is typically not a requirement for entry-level e-commerce positions. However, a basic knowledge of coding skills may be helpful depending on your role. As you've learned, there's a lot to consider when it comes to choosing an e-commerce platform. Now that you have a better understanding of how e-commerce platforms work, you're ready to go more in depth with a very popular SaaS platform, Shopify. Meet you soon. We've covered a lot of information about e-commerce platforms earlier. Now we're going to talk about one of the platforms used by many online stores, Shopify. I'm excited to share with you more about what Shopify is and how it works. First, let me introduce you to Shopify. It's a SaaS e-commerce platform that allows companies to sell their products online to customers anywhere in the world. Using Shopify, companies can create a personalized online store, integrate with third-party shopping channels like Google or Amazon, or add e-commerce capabilities to an existing website. One of the great things about Shopify is that it's an all-in-one solution. Companies that use Shopify get their own online store, a blog, secure checkout, payment processing for both online and in-person sales, a shipping platform, built-in marketing tools, analytics, and reporting. Plus, companies have access to 24/7 support. Companies can choose from multiple plans based on their budget and other needs. Shopify software is designed to be user-friendly. Without any coding or developer knowledge, companies and business owners can easily add products and update their online store. Shopify is also flexible enough for a business of any size, big or small. So why is learning about e-commerce platforms like Shopify important? Today, more companies are moving their sales online than ever because their customers expect it. An all-in-one e-commerce platform is the easiest and fastest way to get started. Coming up later, you'll explore how to use many of the important features in Shopify. Meet you there. I'm excited to introduce the project you'll be working on in this section. You'll be working with an e-commerce platform and using the features it offers to learn more about building an e-commerce store. In this video, I'll give you a brief overview of the project. Then you'll receive instructions on how to complete each step of the project in the following course material. Although you might not launch an e-commerce store of your own, this project will help you become more familiar with navigating an e-commerce platform. You'll also learn some of the basic responsibilities for an entry-level e-commerce role, such as adding or updating products on an e-commerce platform. These are valuable skills to have and ones that employers might be looking for on your resume. Working on this project will also help you get a better idea of all the different pieces involved in building a successful e-commerce store. Ready to learn how to use an e-commerce platform? It's time to get started. You've learned a lot about how an e-commerce platform works. Now it's time to learn how to add products to an e-commerce store. I'll use Shopify to demonstrate how the process works, although the platform you use in your work may be different, depending on the needs and resources of your company. Shopify makes it easy to add physical or digital products to your store. Plus, you can group products together in collections. Collections are categories that contain similar products, such as flower pots or clearance items. You can either add products manually one by one, or you can import multiple products using a CSV file. In this video and the following reading, I'm going to demonstrate how to add a product manually using an example store that sells gardening tools. In the reading that follows, you'll receive detailed step-by-step instructions for adding a product listing. The store I created that I'll be adding products to is called Garden Tools Express. I'll start by logging into Shopify, where I'll use the admin panel to make changes to my store. Now I'll choose the option to add a new product. First, I'll enter a product title. For this product, I'm going to enter Garden Spade. The next step is to enter a product description. A good product description tells the customer how the product can meet their needs and describes the basic features of the product. I'll write a short description of the garden spade in this section and use bullet points for the features to make them easier to scan. Then I'll add a product image. Shopify gives you the option to either add a URL for an image already published online or upload an image from your device. I'm going to upload an image of a garden spade saved on my computer. The image needs to be high resolution and not copyrighted. Now I'm going to add alt text, which is a brief written description of the image. It helps the screen readers and search engines understand what's in the image. For the alt text, I'll type red garden spade. It's a good idea to add photos taken from several angles to show the product from different sides. You may also want to demonstrate the product in use, both in photos and in a video. The more you can help customers experience the product virtually, the more comfortable they'll feel buying it online. Now it's time to add a price for the product. I'll add $57.99 in this field. I can also list a comparison price, add the cost per item, and indicate whether or not to charge tax. The product page also allows you to track inventory levels. I'll add the stock keeping unit, or SKU, which is a unique code that retailers use to identify a product. It helps the retailer track inventory and sales numbers. I'll also add the product barcode and quantity available. Next, I'll add shipping details. Let's estimate 4 pounds for the weight. Then I'll add the customs information for overseas shipping. Then I'll add variants. Let's say my garden spade comes with a choice of 2 colors, red or green. In that case, I'll add a variant for the 2 colors. If your product has other options, like different sizes or materials, you can add those as well. I can also add specific pricing and inventory details for each variant. Here, I'm going to add 20 as the quantity for each color variant. Now, I'll review how my product listing page will display in search engines. It's good practice to add your store name at the end of the page title, so I'll do that now. Then I'll choose a vendor and product type. I can add the product to a collection so that it's part of a similar group or category of products. I can also add tags to categorize the product and organize the search results for my customers. That's all I need to do for now. Next, I'll save the changes I made. All right, my first product is added to the store. Before I change the product to active status, let's preview how it will display in the e-commerce store. Nice, it's all coming together now. Currently, the product is in draft status. To make it available in my e-commerce store, I'll make it active instead. Great, the product is now live on the site. There's one more thing I want to do though. I want to add the ability for customers to review and rate the products in my store. To do this in Shopify, I'll need to add an app. I'm going to choose the Product Reviews app made by Shopify. First, I'll install the app. Then I'll add it to my template so that it will show up on my product pages. That's it. My first product page is live on the site and ready for customers to review. Great work adding a product to your store. You're starting to become more familiar with how an e-commerce platform works. As you get more comfortable working in an e-commerce platform, you'll find that adding a product or doing other tasks becomes faster and easier with more practice. In this video, I'll demonstrate how to finish setting up a Shopify store. Then I'll introduce the built-in tools for marketing, sales, and analytics. Finally, I'll demonstrate how to edit a Shopify theme and add a custom domain. Let's start by enabling payment methods. Shopify allows you to accept payments using multiple payment providers, including their own provider, which is Shopify Payments. It's a good idea to enable several payment methods so that customers can choose the option they want. Offering flexible payment options helps to remove friction from the checkout process. Shopify Payments is the default option for my store, so that's where I'll start. In order to receive payments from Shopify Payments, I'll need to complete the account setup process by filling in the details for all the required fields. Within Shopify Payments, I can choose which types of credit cards and digital wallet payments to accept. I can also enable Shop Pay, which allows customers to save their shipping and payment information for faster checkout. Shop Pay also allows customers to pay in installments. Next, I'll set up shipping and delivery methods. Shopify gives me the option to set up shipping, local delivery, and local pickup methods. In the shipping settings, I can choose the shipping rates and methods that I want to use for my store. Now I'll add the legal pages for my store. In Shopify, these include the refund policy, privacy policy, terms of service, and shipping policy. To make things easier, Shopify allows you to create your own policies using a template they provide. That's the option I'll choose, but I'll still need to make updates to these policies to make sure they're accurate for my store. After I save my legal pages, they'll show up at the footer of my checkout. If I want them to show up in the main menu for my online store, I'll need to add them manually. Shopify automatically creates a contact form for my store based on the contact information I included when I originally set up the store. I can also add a separate contact page with customer support details. I might also want to include links to troubleshooting and self-help articles. An FAQ page might also be helpful. Plus, I can add a blog to my store by publishing blog posts. Next, I'll take you through some of the built-in tools for analytics, marketing, and discounts. The Analytics dashboard provides an overview of important metrics like total sales, conversion rate, and average order value. I'll explain those in more detail later in this course. It also allows me to create custom analytics reports and view real-time activity on my store with live view. In the marketing dashboard, I can create campaigns for ads, email, social media, and other marketing channels. I can also automate campaigns to display ads and send messages based on customer behavior. All I need to do is set them up once, and they'll run for as long as I want. In the discounts section, I can manage promotions by creating discount codes. When customers enter the code at checkout, they'll receive the discount. I can also create discounts that apply automatically to a customer's cart. Next, I'm going to edit my theme, which is a pre-built website template that creates the design and layout for my e-commerce store. My current theme is one that Shopify adds by default. I can customize this theme by changing the logo, colors, font, layout, and more. I can change the copy on the site and add links to my social media accounts. I can also preview what my store looks like on a smartphone by choosing Mobile View. Since a majority of customers shop on their smartphones, it's important to make the website easy to use in Mobile View as well as on a desktop. If I want to use a different theme, I can add a theme that's already been created or upload my own. Finally, let's discuss how to add a custom domain. A domain is the URL or web address for a website, such as www.example.com. It's where customers go to find your store on the internet. The default URL for Shopify uses a specific format. But let's assume I want my URL to be different from the default. I can either buy a new domain or connect an existing domain if I already have one. Now that I've finished setting up my store, I'm ready for my first customer. In this video, we'll explore the requirements for linking a Shopify account to Google. To be clear, this is just an opportunity to learn more about how the process works. We don't expect you to create your own campaigns. Okay, let's get started. Before you start advertising your products with Google, the first thing that you have to do is create a Google Merchant Center account. The Google Merchant Center is a tool advertisers use to upload their store and product data to Google and make it available for shopping ads and other Google services. Think of the Google Merchant Center as a gateway you must pass in order for your products to get from your e-commerce store onto the Google shopping platform. After setting up your account, you can link that account to a Shopify store. The Google Merchant Center is intended to help facilitate uploading and editing your product listings in order to advertise through Google Shopping and helps ensure your product information is up to date. A few benefits to registering your e-commerce store with the Google Merchant Center include accurate Google Shopping listings, exclusive Google Analytics support, review capabilities for your online products, and simple Google AdWords integration. To create a Google Merchant Center account, you'll need at least one existing Google account, a business and a website, and up-to-date product data on your e-commerce store, including pricing, availability, and shipping information. For specific instructions, be sure to visit the Google Merchant Account website for full details. Now that you know about the Google Merchant Center and its connection to online stores, let's move on to learn about selling products on Google and other shopping channels. So far, we've covered how to add products to your own website. If you want to reach the most customers, however, It's a good idea to also sell your products through other channels, such as social media, mobile apps, or a marketplace that allows you to sell on a large, well-known site. Shopify makes it easy to sell products in more places by allowing you to add multiple sales channels. In this video, I'll demonstrate how you can add sales channels to a Shopify store. Once you know how to do this, you'll be able to manage your products all in one place and control how they display across multiple sales channels. Ready? Let's get started. First, I'll log into the admin panel for my Shopify store. Then I'll navigate to the settings for my sales channels. Here, I'm going to add a new sales channel. Shopify gives me a list of recommendations. Let's start with Google. Now I'll go through the process to connect the Google app to my Shopify store. I'll choose the Google account I want to connect to, and then I'll agree to the terms. Finally, I'll complete any additional details needed to complete the channel setup. Great. Now when I add products in Shopify, they'll display in Google as well. Next, I can add other sales channels using the same process. I can even create a mobile app for my website or add a channel to sell products in person. If I don't see the sales channels I want in the list, I can visit the Shopify App Store to add other channels. Adding multiple sales channels is good for customers, and it's good for business. Besides helping you reach more customers, adding multiple sales channels through Shopify also makes it easier to manage your e-commerce store. You can promote and sell products, manage orders, and track inventory all in one place. Coming up, we'll review the topics we've covered so far. Then we'll discuss how to drive traffic to an e-commerce store and engage customers. Meet you there.
Congratulations on finishing this video from the Google Digital Marketing and E-commerce Certificate. Access the full experience on Coursera, including job search help, and start earning the official certificate by clicking the icon or the link in the description. Watch the next video in the course by clicking here, and subscribe to our channel for more lessons from Google Career Certificate.